just so you know what you're getting yourself into, I'm basing this entire channel off of what I do for work, which is a marine contractor. A lot of it's carpentry, a lot of it's just kind of random stuff on the water, which keeps things entertaining. And then the other part of the channel is me building what's needed to get the jobs done out on the water. So like this boat here is going to be one of my work boats for my ROV, and then last winter I built more heavy duty John boat, cabin boat, and that's more so for being a push boat, and I can push around a barge or a couple canoes with a platform and be able to haul lumber back and forth and demo docks, that kind of thing. So basically this channel is going to be fabricating, a lot of fabricating here in my garage, and then just doing stuff out on the water, having a good time. So today marks the day that I started a build that I've wanted to for a very long time. Back here is a 1958 aluminum hull Crestliner. The build is going to be based around like the classic Chesapeake dead rise. It's an old fishing boat, basically the flat back truck of the water. What I'm going to do with it is put this center console as far forward as possible. I built this center console last week. I'll put a time lapse of that up. But basically, you're going to be sitting as far forward as possible without disturbing the weight too much. And then out back, this is the exciting part. Right in there is going to be a 787 CU XP engine. So it's going to have a jet drive out back, forward center console. I think the fuel tank will probably be somewhere in the center or maybe underneath of where the driver stands. We still got to play around with all the weight distribution so everything works out. But yeah, I hope you guys are as excited as I am for this, because I haven't seen anything else like it. And it should push this hull pretty good. This hull I think weighs 300, 400 pounds. Empty, but let's see what happens. Stay tuned. Quick little update though. So I got the engine and pretty much all the electronics that I need out of the jet ski. This jet ski is no title, no nothing. Just bought it for dirt cheap. Got the impeller and stuff out of there and all the housings. But I'm using a grinder to cut gauges out of this thing instead of doing it the proper way, because I don't care about that hull and it's not worth anything without a title. There's my gauges, a fresh cut. with a grinder. Here's all the electronics and stuff that I think I need. Got the ECU and recidifier. Might not need all of it, but I grabbed all of it. Yeah, there's coil pack. Here is where I think the engine will be sitting. Roughly, obviously. It's not centered or anything, but I think it's gonna have to be, the expansion chamber is gonna have to be pretty dang close to this bench seat if I'm gonna leave the bench seat in here, which right now is the plan. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of floor framing in here, and then that way I can mount the motor on its original motor mounts. So it'll be raised up at least 2 inches off of this bottom on the actual floor framing. And the floor framing, I got 1/8 inch, 1 by 1 inch square tubing, 8-foot long sections. And that'll be going the entire length of the hull for the stringers. And we'll have cross framing members the entire length of the hull. As far as the transom goes, I got this piece here. So that's 3/16 inch aluminum. I'm gonna cut this whole thing out. I mean, I'm gonna keep the shape because the shape is awesome, and I think it'll be really, really loose with the jet on there. But anyways, gonna replace it, that transom, with that plate over there, and then I should have enough left over to build a bunch of these gussets. I like to call them knees because I'm gonna tie them into the floor stringers. So basically, any push or pull on the transom is going to be pushing and pulling the floor framing from all the way forward. There's no way it can move from just a 110 horsepower motor. This is the old impeller that came out of the ski over there. So you can kind of hear it. Try and get the camera close. You hear that scraping? It's not bad at all, but it does scrape. So I'm not gonna use it. Also, I got a different impeller and housing, so I just need the shaft off of this. I'm gonna clean it up quite a bit. This is the new impeller. Can't hear anything. And this impeller is also, the pitch is different. It's a lower pitch, so it's gonna be way more torquey, which I think will be necessary to push this big hull compared to a little jet ski. The hull, I did do a seat of pants weight scale, and I think it's really close to what the jet ski is in weight, at least, because the weight of the jet ski I can pick up by myself, the rear end, and I can pick up the rear end of this by myself, just barely. So the jet ski's like, you know, we got 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch layered fiberglass all the way through this thing, and I'm pretty sure the bottom is probably 1.5 inches. It's so thick. And then the boat, you know, it's, I think 100 gauge or 0.1 gauge, if not a little less than that, because I don't know if you can see that, but I mean, we're sitting at like an 1/8 inch there, maybe. So it's probably 3/32 thick. So it's super lightweight, and I think that motor is going to push it around really, really nicely. Stay tuned. I'm going to start working on this thing now that I got that big dock job finished up. So rainy days, I'll be here tearing into this thing. So my plan with this thing is it's going to be the boat that I'll use for my ROV. If you don't know what that is, it's a remote operated vehicle. So basically a drone that's used underwater. But I got a little tiny inspection one that's going to be used to, you know, probably find sunken boats using sonar and to check out people's docks and their pilings and what's underneath of it. Maybe someone's getting their lures caught. I can go dive down or dive the ROV down and look at what's catching the lures. or whatever. As soon as I get the sonar for it, I'll make a video of it. I do know of a couple sunken boats here in the James, so it'd be a lot of fun to go sonar those and see what they are. Pretty shallow water too, maybe 10-15 feet deep. But yeah, so what I'm thinking is this will be the ROV boat, and reason being is since it's an impeller, I don't have to worry about the umbilical of that ROV getting caught into a prop and getting tore up and ripped, and that would be a lot of money wasted. So this will be the ROV boat. The other boat will be the work boat. I also want this to be an expedition camping boat too. Here on the James in Virginia and the Outer Banks of North Carolina, which I go down to a lot, there's so much opportunity to take something like this on a camping trip and just fish out of it, flounder gigging, crabbing, all kinds of things, and just throw a bunch of camping gear on there. You can probably bring two people with me, maybe three, depending on how I set up the seats and everything, and then just go explore, the barrier islands of the eastern shore of Virginia. Maybe go find an island on the James that's uninhabited, just camp out for the night. That's the plan of this thing. I think we'll be able to run really shallow creeks and really shallow tidal waters to the point where, no one else can get to unless you're in a kayak. That's the goal, at least. So yeah, stay tuned. I think it'll be a very interesting build, and I think it'll probably be even more interesting once it is built and I start doing the adventures and getting work with it for the ROV. I'll show you the ROV in one of these videos, show you what I'm talking about. It's pretty cool. I have dove it a couple times already, but here in the James the water's so murky that I really do need a sonar for it before I actually start trying to book any work with it. But that's coming. Alright, so next episode, I think you saw a little bit at the beginning of this episode, we will start cutting into this boat. Fabrication will start. So we'll start on all the floor stringers and the floor framing on each of these ribs, and same with back here. We're also going to start cutting this transom out so we can get this thicker material on the back end of this boat, and then we'll get the motor mounted, and hopefully that'll be the end of the next video, getting the motor mounted. Maybe a little ambitious. Yeah, subscribe and you can see what happens with this cool little old school boat. Thanks.